Hi, my name is Pierre and my preferred pronouns are he, him and his, and I'll be your lecturer for this semester. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the first Australians on whose traditional land I'm recording this message and pay my respect to the elders of the Ngunnawal and the Ngambri people, past, present and emerging, and then extend that respect to all First Nation people. Now, I feel very lucky to be here on Ngunnawal country. I know some of you also are, but some of you are not. And for those of you who cannot join us on campus this semester, I want to say we really miss you. I certainly cannot wait for the time where all students will be back on campus. But it is what it is, and we'll adjust our mode of delivery accordingly. And one thing I want to tell you is that equity between the on-campus and the off-campus student is certainly going to be something that drives every choice I make with teaching this semester. Now, talking about delivery, I'm using a flipped classroom approach for this class. Now, a lot of people are talking about a flipped classroom approach these days essentially to mean that they've recorded their lectures. That is not what I mean. That is not what the flipped classroom pedagogy is supposed to be about. The point of the flipped classroom pedagogy is that the time that the students spend with the lecturer should be spent going deep into the material, not having a shallow first encounter with the material. So instead of doing what we normally do, which is have the first encounter with the material delivered through a lecture and then have the students go home and go deeper into the material, the flipped classroom approach, well, flip that. The students first encounter the material on their own and then meet with the lecturer to go through the deep aspects of the learning. So the way I'm implementing this is as follows. To first encounter the material, to go through the standard linear delivery of mathematical content, I've recorded video material for you last year, and I will do some updates and maybe an extra video or two this year. So you can find already all of those videos on Waddle and on my YouTube channel, and whenever I make an update to them, I'll post a message to let you know. So this is your first port of call. This is what you study first together with the notes to try and understand the material. And after that, we'll meet. One group will meet in person and one group will meet on Zoom to go much deeper into the material once you've already encountered it. Okay, so a few things that I want to say about that. So first of all, at the level of the video material, these are not recorded lectures. This is video material. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that if I cover material in a live lecture in about 50 minutes, I would condense that into a video which is about 20 minutes. And the number of videos you'll get each week, well, sometimes it will be 3, but sometimes it will be 4, 5 or more, because the videos are split by content, not following the idea that we have 3 lectures a week. Now, if I condensed 50 minutes of material within 20 minutes, well, the keyword is condense. It's going to be a lot more dense, and the way you interact with it is going to be quite different with the way you interact with a live lecture. Because in a live lecture, fundamentally what a lecturer is trying to do is to create a connection between the lecturer's brain and the audience brain. So I want to take you along on a journey of first encountering, in a somewhat shallow manner, the material of the course. So I need to pause, I need to slow down, I need to repeat certain things, I need to ask you for questions such that we keep this connection throughout the 50 minutes. Now, if the material is recorded, we don't have this connection anyway. So I do not have to do that, and it's not relevant to do that. So what I do instead is that I speak at a much faster pace. If I repeat myself, I edit that out, and I don't make extra pauses. So when you study video material, I expect you, based on feedbacks from students last year, to spend roughly 4 times the length of the video studying it. So you need to pause it, take a piece of paper, do parts of the proofs yourself, go back to the notes, open a Wikipedia page, do whatever you need to do to fully understand that material. So you spend the same amount of time, say roughly 2 hours corresponding to a 1-hour lecture, but that time is spent very differently because you're spending it interacting with, let's say, a 20-minute video material plus some notes. This is the first part. That's where you learn the material in a linear manner, the definition, the theorems, and then the proofs starting with the assumptions and moving down logically to the conclusion of the theorem. Now, what we do in the other part of the flipped classroom is the deep learning, and that learning is not linear, and it is about why, and it is about how. Why do we study things the way we did? Why is that theory important? Why did we choose to have this specific set of assumptions on the theorem? And how did the people who designed this proof thought about it in the first place? What is it that I need to remember about this proof such that I can design similar proofs myself? So this part is very nonlinear. You have to start maybe in the middle of a proof to identify what is the key aspect of the proof, maybe point out a few more places in the proof where you have an essential argument and realize what else is just technical things that we need to do to make the proof work. So we'll go through that in the discussions, and I will offer you 2 different time slots for this discussion, one in person, one on Zoom. I will ask you through a poll on Waddle to choose at the beginning of the semester which one you want to attend. If you want to change, you can send me an email and ask for changing, but I don't want people changing from week to week. The idea from that is that I want to give the people who cannot be on campus a small group discussion of a Zoom, such that they have something that compensates for the fact that they don't have the option of coming to the in-person meeting. And these meetings will really be discussions. And I could lecture you and just tell you exactly what my nonlinear perspective on the hows and the whys of this material are, but all this will give you is another thing from me that you can learn and repeat. That is not the way you will become mathematicians yourself. To become mathematician yourself, you need to ask yourself the question, develop your own perspective, and confront it to the perspective of others. There's certainly more than one valid perspective on any proof, any theorem that I'm going to give you in this course. So this will very much be a discussion, and based on what you're telling me, I will bring in my perspective and help you grow your own perspective. Now, the point of that is to move you from being readers of mathematics, very much undergrad students, to being actors of mathematics, very much graduate students or even researchers. So I want you to develop the skills that make it easy to do an assignment, to do an exam in an advanced course like that, and down the track that allow you to design your own proof. So this is going to be challenging, this is going to be intense, but this is going to be exciting. This is really the key part of a flipped classroom approach. And last year I wasn't able to really develop that part because I was too busy developing the initial video material. Now that this is in place, more or less, I'll make some updates. We can focus on the other part, which is really the deep aspects and the aspect that's going to make you good honor students, good HDR students, and beyond that, good mathematicians. So each year students tell me that this course is intensely challenging, but also intensely rewarding. I very much hope that it's going to be the case for you this semester also, and that you will be excited with this new way of doing things. So let's get to it. Welcome, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all very soon.